Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Pyle, and I'm the Chief Experience Officer here at GadellNet. And I'm joined by Danny and Vic on our consulting team. And we have been out during the last 18 months on the front lines of GenAI adoption. We've been advising clients, speaking at community events in St. Louis and Indianapolis and Denver. We've been training businesses and nonprofits on how to use Microsoft Copilot securely and effectively. And we were working on preparing an FAQ. We get a lot of the same questions over and over again when we're meeting with our partners, whether it's a big meeting, a small meeting, a one-on-one. And so we thought we would put together an FAQ. And then we thought, hey, it would be way more engaging in the year of 2025 to actually just record it. And share it with you today. So we want to pull back the curtain, give you the most common questions, and get some of those real world conversations out. It's an exciting week of AI right now. OpenAI just released GPT-5, and Copilot launched GPT-5 on the same day. So it's been a whirlwind, but the answers and the FAQs here are all still relevant. So I wanted to start with Vic, who has been leading our efforts on AI readiness, has done a ton of training, and gets a lot of these questions. So one of maybe the easiest ones I wanted to start off with that you get a lot is how to transcribe meetings and attribute voices, and what does that look like inside of Microsoft Teams?
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. One of the most common questions we get actually is how to transcribe calls so that you can take advantage of some of the Copilot features as it relates to like AI meeting summary notes that can be generated. And so the biggest thing there, Teams meetings policies can be created from your IT department or your IT provider partner to allow for automatic transcriptions on your calls. You of course want to make sure that from a compliance perspective that's allowed in your organization. Yeah. Otherwise, for individual meetings, you can go into the meeting options and you can enable those transcriptions. Also in the call, like under more, there's 3 dots and you can enable transcriptions for that call kind of in real time. So more than one way to get that transcription turned on, and that's going to make it a lot easier for Copilot to access the contents of that meeting.
Yeah, we ran into this yesterday. We had a great internal meeting. There were several people there. Parts of it was pretty technical, and we were getting ready to get off. And one of the people said, okay, I'll type up the response. And guess what? We didn't have to do. We didn't have to go back in, recreate a whole email. We just prompted it to write the email for us based on the 20 minutes of discussion. It was perfect. It probably saved 15 minutes. And we'd already done that work. So great. Okay, so along with transcriptions, there's also a tool called Facilitator that some people use or may not even know about yet. And I wanted to talk with you, Danny, about your experience and maybe some of the use cases of Facilitator inside of Copilot.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Ashley. So Facilitator is a tool that's built into Copilot that takes some of those personal Copilot tools and applies them to the meeting as a whole. And what's really awesome about that is, one, if somebody with a Copilot license enables Facilitator, it brings that tool set to all of the users on the call. And some of the things that we gain from that are some shared summaries that everyone can see all at once. If I'm using my personal Copilot license, I can always bounce questions off the transcript using Copilot, but Facilitator actually automatically does that summary and everyone on the call can see it right away. So that's really beneficial as people who might not have licenses are coming into the meeting late or might have to hop early. They can still come back and see that summary piece. So it's a really awesome tool for that. Facilitator also kind of, I don't want to say jumps into the call in a sense, but will give you pop-ups during the call to remind you of time and to give you kind of the summary up to date of this point. So it's really taking that Copilot tool set and making that a little bit more automatic. It's just happening, everyone can see it, it's there and shared for everyone, versus you having to kind of prompt it to to summarize things for you or give you any of that feedback.
Oh, so it could be good for a group meeting, maybe not a one-on-one or kind of a small conversation, but keeping a group on track. It sounds like it would be good for that.
Yeah, exactly. I would say the more the merrier when it comes to Facilitator. As we bring people in, it really becomes one of those super useful tools that comes with your Copilot license.
Yeah, good. Okay, next question. I know you get this one a lot, Vic, especially like early on when companies were trying to figure out their stake in the ground and what's the difference between Copilot and all of the other tools that are available, whether it's a foundational or frontier model, whether it's a third-party tool that's very specific to something in their organization. So tell me about your answer, kind of your thoughts around Copilot for work and everything else that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ashley. So I always say it like Copilot is very similar to your ChatGPT, your Google Gemini, even Perplexity, and I've used them all. Outside of work, I use all of the latest AI tools in my personal life to help with personal tasks and efficiencies. But I think of Copilot really as AI at work. And the reason is just because of the data, the sensitive data that many of us share internally. We may not want to share that or have it be used to train language models. And we may not want it to get outside of our four walls, so to speak. And
Yeah.
so Copilot is really good at giving that peace of mind. They actually call it enterprise data protection. And that's something that they offer even for the non-paid versions of their Microsoft 365 Copilot product. So basically, you're using your work account. Whether you have a Copilot license or not, your data is protected. And Microsoft has pretty much made that claim and that stake in the ground that your data is not going to be used to train their models. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get the, as Ashley mentioned, GPT-5 and some of the frontier and emerging language models behind the scenes or kind of under the hood, so to speak. And then on top of that, you get that deep integration with your Microsoft suite and the added security benefits of keeping your data within Microsoft.
Yeah. And so sometimes when I meet with people, they say, oh, not as much anymore. Maybe a year ago it happened more. They would say, oh, I've seen it on my computer. I think I have Copilot. So what's the difference between Copilot for work and Copilot for web? And this one will, I think, Vic, you can help answer this one.
Yeah, so Copilot recently became free. They had a free offering. So as I mentioned, if you log in with your business account, you can access the Copilot chat, and you can also access what's called pay-as-you-go agents. So you can use custom agents or pre-built agents, and there is just a pay-as-you-go cost associated with that for the non-paid plans. But then Copilot or Microsoft still offers, I believe, a $30 a month license, and that pricing may change. It's an annual commitment, and that gets you kind of the premium version of Copilot for work. So that allows a deeper integration with your work data first and foremost, and it affords the same security and compliance features that you would get with Copilot.
Yeah, good. Well, okay. So when you talk about security and compliance, these are some of the like I get these the most frequently when I'm meeting with people and kind of introducing the concept. And we're scared. We're like, how do we make sure that documents aren't accidentally exposed, right? Like, how do I make sure that we launch this and people don't accidentally find out sensitive HR documents? So I would love both of your take on this. Maybe we can start with you, Danny.
Yeah, I mean, first thing I would just have to say on it is it's something you have to be really careful about. It, especially if you go in and open up a Copilot license without doing any type of readiness assessment or kind of, and you just go and jump straight into using that license. One of the pitfalls there is that your SharePoint data isn't very clean. And we've seen that with a couple of different organizations. And what we're really talking about is making sure that we have user permissions that are clean and clear cut throughout the organization. We can tell very easily who has access to what data.
Yep.
And really the big pitfall there is when we open that up without doing that readiness assessment, without looking at, hey, what does your SharePoint environment look like prior to? We do run into people who are able to throw a query into Copilot and then come across sensitive HR data, exactly as you brought up, or payroll data, or tons of stuff that previously that user just didn't know that they had access to.
Yeah.
But if they spent the time, they could have eventually clicked onto it in SharePoint. This just helps them access that a little bit quicker. So yeah, being careful, doing that readiness assessment prior to enabling licenses, and getting that extra due diligence in prior to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, anything else to add on that one?
Yeah, I'll jump off. I mean, that was a great set of points that you made, Danny. I'll second you in saying that readiness is so important when you think about the emerging threat landscape and the risk of integrating any newer technology, especially AI, into your existing workflows or creating new workflows with it and exposing your work data. With that in mind, there's some additional recommendations that we include as part of our readiness assessment. So that's just reviewing to make sure that you have retention labels and policies to ensure that data is not leaving your environment. Also policies to ensure that sensitivity is clearly marked on your data. So if there is certain material that's, let's say, confidential or for internal use only, it's not able to be shared inadvertently or accessed by the wrong individual. So just having those policy controls, or at least visibility to any gaps that may exist in your environment, can be invaluable when navigating how to integrate AI into your workflows.
Okay, so tell me more about policy, because this is one that pops up quite a bit. And we usually ask, again, if we're in a large seminar and there's a bunch of different companies there, we might ask who's got AI policies. But tell me about some of the work that you've done with an AI policy. And then Danny, I'll have maybe you share some of your experience too.
Yeah, so we've put together and worked with clients both internally and then with clients as far as getting an understanding of the organization's priorities and goals, and then working with them to craft their own customized AI usage policy. We integrate some core topics around governance and also AI ethics, just to make sure that the tools are being utilized responsibly and that we're delivering ROI without opening ourselves up to additional risk that may not be necessary.
Yeah, it is. Our world is about limiting risk that's not necessary. That's well put. Okay, so and then maybe last question. I'm interested maybe in Vic's answer on this one too. It's a spend, especially if you're buying licensing and you're putting and investing training into people in your organization. There's a difference between knowing and doing. We know that we have to do this work. How can you track ROI? How do you know that this has been impactful for an organization that's in their AI journey?
Yeah, so it's really important, I think, to work with a consultant along the way. We can help you navigate the journey. We've gone through this with clients before. We can help you build out an AI roadmap that can prioritize some of your organization's goals, and then keep those recurring check-ins with you to ensure that any roadblocks are discussed and navigated effectively. It is quite common to get your licenses, get into your pilot group, have all these ambitions of what you want to see out of the tool, and then 60, 90 days in, those goals may change as you learn more about the tool. And so it's so important just to have an advocate in your corner who's sharing the latest information with you and helping make sure that your organization is successful.
Love it. And I know, Danny, you sit on an AI governance board at one of our partners. And so you've really walked hand in hand with what they need as an organization and adding in your experience. Any kind of final thoughts there on how that model works?
Yeah, I mean, we love working directly with our partners and kind of getting deeper into organizations and really understanding how those organizations work. And the biggest reason why is that it enables us to help them use these tool sets in better ways, to enable better policy, and to really set up those environments to be safe and secure. And going back to Vic's point on that too, with all of that kind of set aside in the good governance corner, we also want to make sure that we're helping people explore and have fun and get to know these tools and actually see that ROI in the end. Because if we go into it with just fear and just all of those pieces to it, we kind of miss out on the fact that, hey, these tool sets are pretty incredible and we can do a lot of really cool stuff and help improve our work lives all over the place.
Love it. All right. So you didn't prepare this like last rapid fire part, but is there any like parting top tips or anything that you would want to leave with our viewers today?
Yeah, so one thing I would encourage you, if you have a Copilot license, you get priority access to GPT-5. If you don't have a Copilot license, you still do have standard access, so the feature may be available to you right now. I would encourage you to log into Microsoft Copilot, and in the top right corner, there's a button to test out GPT-5. So you'll get to see kind of that two-pronged approach to solving problems and answering questions in real time, where it's switching between quick response and kind of a deeper level of thought. And I'd love to hear your experience.
Love it. Okay, so we'll toggle it on. Danny, any final words of wisdom?
Go out and play. I think is always the biggest thing that I would leave on that one. See what's out there. See how these tool sets can help you. Ask these tool sets how they can help you. Describe your workflows and those pieces out there. And yeah, play and figure out what you can do with the different tools that are out there.
All right. Well, Danny, Vic, thank you for joining me today. They are very bright individuals that have been doing this work, and we help organizations plan and deploy govern AI tools. So we'll link to the full FAQ that we put together, and there'll be more coming because if there are questions, we love to answer them. So thanks for joining. Bye. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks.